Oh, good evening. Hello, folks. Yes, hello there, Chloe, Cobb, Majenko, anybody else in chat. Let's have a quick look. I can't read that very well. Yes, I was busy faffing around with the thing, the RC2014, checking out a couple of bits and pieces, downloading some additional files to it. I looked over the clock and it was 21:30, and I desperately needed to be elsewhere for a moment. So anyway, so let me just deal with that and get rid of that. What do I want to do? No, first let me just quickly... No, that's fine. We'll grab the RC2014 and revisit where we are first. So we have a camera pointing in entirely the wrong direction, but that's fine. It's not very bright, is it? Anyway, here's where we are at the moment. We have serial board, VGA board, ROM board there, RAM board, CPU board, clock board, and combat flash. So we can boot CPM, we can talk to bring up the terminal, VGA terminal with USB keyboard. That all works. Yes, thank you, Chloe. And what I wanted to... Sorry, it's too warm this evening, that's the problem. What I was fiddling around with was getting some software downloaded onto it rather than just the base CPM loadout. So I have copied BBC Basic over to it, because obviously, and a terminal program. And the reason I've installed the terminal program, you'll notice that I've connected the USB serial adapter up to the second port on the serial card, which means we can plug in the VGA or the VGA terminal and a keyboard. And keyboard goes in thus. And apply some power. I need to choose better slots to put this stuff in. There we go. There's some power. And we should now be able to bring up, if I can find the right scene in OBS. Is that working?
RHK77
it's this there. I just can't see it on my preview.
Stupid Twitch. Didn't notify me that there is a Ben. Hello.
Usually you can tell where there is a Ben because the sirens go off and everybody runs for the hills, but thank you for the 100 bits, RHK, most appreciated, and hello. So I don't know whether you can actually read that very well in the stream. Let me make it a bit bigger. Wee. Bit bigger. It did take a few seconds, yes, it takes a moment to initialise, but what we can do there is boot into CPM, nice and quick, and on the B drive we should now have a file with no name, which was a mistake I made, and I don't know how to get rid of that at the moment. That'll be exciting. But we can type qterm82 and we have a terminal program. So if we now plug in well, that was exciting. Oh, come on. There we go. Plug in the USB serial and I can fire up CoolTerm over here. Let me just bring that up as well. CoolTerm. And put it behind this video capture. Yep. And we should now be able to type stuff here and have it show up in QTerm or go away again. So we have serial working on both ports, which is good. And that is important because we will need that for... Sorry, I just need to get the open interface out of the way. I've dragged it into the wrong group and now OBS is being a pain. Because OBS just loves being a pain. Right, go away. And that is important because we want to be able to use the second serial channel on it for the Wi-Fi card rather than you can configure it as the primary and then use it as the console for CPM or whatever, which will be fine for telnetting into it, but if we want to connect out to BBSs from it, we want to use it on the second channel. So I just wanted to make sure that was all working before we got any further into building the hardware. But I need to figure out what's going on with the phone. A whole pile of email apparently, about which I do not care very much. So yeah, let's get on with building the next part of it. Which is the Wi-Fi board, which will be in here somewhere. It's that one. And then we need the list of all the other materials again, don't we? So let me find my browser window. Browser window is too big. Make browser window smaller. There we go. So if I switch right to the right window, so we want the, as we usually do, we want to check the notes for the Pride version to make sure there aren't any special colours we need to worry about. Digital I/O, compact flash, pageable ROM, Wi-Fi module, here we go. The red and green 3mm LEDs, so yes, there are only 3mm LEDs, oh sorry, there are only two 3mm LEDs, so we need those. Resistors, 2K2, right, black header pins and jumpers and a black-brown tact switch. Okie doke. So what we want to scroll past all of this and find the bill of materials. There we go. So PCB, ESP module, there. 40 pin right angle header, 40 pin times 2. Okay, so it is a dual row header. That's fine. Where's the bag of headers gone? Up there. So that one. Two 3mm LEDs. I might as well dig them out now. That's fine. Actually, let's do that. And what else we need? 3v3 regulator, I think, is in that bag. And the passives. And I don't think we need any DIL sockets, do we? No. Okay, that's good. So let me get rid of that so you see what I'm doing. I shall catch up on chat in a second, see what you're talking about there. Right, some 3mm LEDs, good. Sweets would be nice, Chloe. Let's have a look. Oh, and good evening, Swarm, as well, and Remdog, I see. Hello. No, I could definitely do with the rain. It is far too hot and dry at the moment. Well, no, muggy at the moment. Rain would help. Hello there, Created. Hope you're well. Oh, I see. You're talking about hardware streaming doohickeys. Yes, makes sense. Majenko, a heated accent on there. There. Yeah, there are a couple of spots where it has got hit with the hot air gun. So we want to, sorry, bring up that list again. 3v3 regulator. Well, let's check this pile out first. There's the 3v3 regulator. 6-pin header. Yep. 3-pin headers times 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jumper times 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Tact switch. So brown and black. It was either that one, I think, or that one. Or it could be that one. Oh dear. But it isn't one of those. So hang on, let me point the other camera at it one moment. It's one of those 3 tact switches, I believe. Actually, in this light, I suspect it's one of these 2 are the ones with the brown. But if chat could just confirm that quickly, that would be very helpful. Good evening, RF. How are you doing? Okay, thank you, Chloe. That's much appreciated. So that's those done. And then we need to go back to the passives. So 22 microfarad and 47 microfarad electrolytics, there's one of them. Oh, hang on, I cannot read. 27. Right. 22, I suppose. And there's the other one. It doesn't matter which way around they are just yet, I suppose. I'll figure that out later. 330 ohm resistor times 2. That's 1k, which we don't need. 3k2, which we don't need, 2k2, which we don't need, 10k, which we do need, 22k, which we do need, so that's a problem. Oh no, it's not, sorry, 330 ohm resistor times 2, but those will be for the LEDs, won't they? So what we want to do is go back to this list, and it's right, 2k2, 3k3, 2k2, 3k3, fine. 22, 10, 10. Okay, that's all good. We don't need any of those diodes. And I don't think we need the capacitor, do we? Or capacity, the ceramics. No. Okay, that's all good. But at least it makes the next job or the next board a bit easier on the grounds that we won't need, or everything that's left over will be what we need for the next board. So let's get started by pulling the pins out of this one as usual. Let's move that cap. No. Ouch. There we go, that's a bit better. So I need to grab that one. And deal with some coffee. I managed to pick up some colour at the weekend, Chloe, which is most unlike me, so... No, let's try doing this the right way round. And taking one off the end first. We need to pull 3 from this end, and is it usually 16 from the other? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes, I remembered that correctly when it's the last one we'll ever have to do, so splendid. Come on. Right. Four. 8. No, did that one? There it is. 12. And 16, and then 3 from this end. There we go. Just double check. It's all looking good. So what do we want to start work with? Let's open up the ESP module first. Now this is apparently pre-programmed, which is useful because it means we're able to test it works before we go any further. But it's also nicely heat sealed, so I don't know whether Spencer does that himself or has them programmed for him or something. But let's just have a quick look at. Okay, I think we'll go with the resistors first. The cap has indeed stayed with the knife, yes. Before I do the resistors, I need to find the cutty thingy. There it is. Yeah. Oh, it's... Sorry, the keyboard just slid under the chair leg when I leant forward. That was not ideal. It's not a very good keyboard, but I'd still rather not destroy it. So let's start on the resistors, and this is going to be a challenge. Let's bring up my camera. Right, I wonder where I want to set the focus. Well, at least the resistors go in a row there, and there was a list on the web page of which order they go in, so we'll follow that rather than attempt to read the silk screen. From left to right, the resistors are 2K2, so we'll just double check we know which side is left. I presume it's obviously this side on the left as you look at it. Yeah, 2K2 in there. So let's find the 2K2s. And what would also be quite useful, now that I come to think of it, would be turning on the soldering iron. and yes, there is a further fairly useful thing we could do, which is this: find the solder. Well, that sounds well. Apart from the trashed bit, Swarm, that sounds quite good. I've been meaning to look for a fairly small keyboard that I can hang off the. I have a Cisco desk phone upstairs, which is eventually going to go in the garage, I think, and it has a thin client integrated into the stand for it. So I need to find a nice small keyboard for it, and then it would be an ideal sort of workbench machine in the garage, I think, because it can just RDP into something with a bit more grunt. Come on. Okay, so that wasn't up to temp. Now it's up to temp. I have not yet got around to implementing the redeems I mentioned to turn the music on and off. So sing out if you want me to press the button, folks. 3K3. The M13. Hang on. I thought that was one of the Space Saver keyboards. I'm obviously thinking of a different M something or other. But yes, if I wanted stupidly large keyboards, as you've seen, I have plenty of those to choose from. Or, well, stupidly heavy might be different, unless the Sledric counts. So that's 3K3. I have not, Ramdog. I imagine there is something interesting about it if you are bringing it up. I do need to spend some time on my household telephony. If nothing else, I could do with repair. Oh, no, that was off shot, wasn't it? Do with repairing at least one of the decked phones around the place. The base station for my original set has failed, and the Cisco I picked up for EMF has an annoying habit of dropping calls. So maybe I'll take a look at that sometime as a stream, and then see what happens. Sorry, I just want to check I've got those in with the strike pointing in the right direction. Yes, and 22K. And before anybody points it out, yes, I know the strike doesn't matter on a resistor. It's just a question of wanting it to look neat. So tolerance band towards the same end. course, when I looked at the VGA module after I was finished last time, yes, I didn't get those anywhere near lined up, did I? But oh well, at least they're all the right way around. A weird hybrid thing that uses VoIP to connect to land mobile radio. Oh, blimey. Sounds fancy. And then two 10Ks to finish off the job. That sounds pretty bonkers, Rumdog. I should have to look it up. Although I know someone who would be probably the person to ask, so I shall do that after stream. Although they're probably out celebrating their birthday, so maybe not. Okay, that should do those. Yeah, that was a cold joint, don't like that. Bit better. Right, let's look at those. What have we got on? That looks fine. So, the 3v3 regulator would probably be a useful thing to put down. Actually, probably should have gone down first. Whoops, never mind. Let's find some tweezers. Right. It's a little don't know if that's in focus. Just a little SMD thing, but big chunky SMD, so it should be easy enough to solder. So watch me make a complete pills of it, obviously. I might have scorched the print very slightly there, which is a shame, but it might also just be flux. It's kind of hard to tell. So next up is probably the ESP, I suppose. So let's see where that goes. It goes there. Can we pull the same trick with a couple of sort of U-shaped jumper lead things in the corners? Yes, we should be able to. Hang on, why has this got... Oh, it just has a footprint on the back. I presume that's to accommodate these holes that are there, I think, to allow you to position it. But there's definitely silk on the top, so I presume it mounts to the top. We can double check. Everything else is on the top, so but we will double check that before I solder it down. Come on. ESP 8266 Majenko. I'm not massively familiar with the ESP series, to be fair. I have some bits and pieces that use them. There we go, let's just do that. That's fine. So that should all be nicely lined up now. Let's just bring it up. Bit hard to make out, but it is on the relevant pads, so we'll get that tacked down. how's that looking? Yeah, it should do the job. So we can pull the little retaining clips out. One at two. Sorry, I see food chat. I'm going to have to read that one. We're going to go 12E. I don't understand the question, I'm afraid. Cold bottle of drink sounds good, Chloe, but I have hot coffee instead, which is genius. Right, let's get on with the rest of these. Very good. Is that just to confuse the foreigners, Chloe? Oops, a little too much solder on one of those. I should be able to get away with it. Exactly, Chloe. I don't know what started playing in my ear though when I accidentally hit the button on my earbuds, but hopefully that didn't come out on stream, otherwise I might get a DMCA strike or something. Great. Almost done. There we go. Touch that one up a bit. So let's see how we got on with that. Projector. Bit scrappy on the bottom there, but I think we should be okay. Okay, thank you all for the confirmation that it didn't go out on the live audio. I was trying to work out how I could get the down in front to play on stream as well, because you seemed keen on that idea, and regrettably it doesn't look like it's going to be particularly trivial. I just wrote a bit of it's just in thank you. It's just my little Python script that handles updating the stream titles in OBS, etc. Just sends that off to macOS's built-in speech put my teeth in, try that again. Built-in speech synthesizer routine, and it sort of has the options of playing it through the speaker or through the desktop audio, or sending it to a network receiver in some protocol that I can't seem to get OBS to talk, which is vaguely irritating. But not to worry. The alternative is to just make it a sound clip and then play that back somehow, but anyway. The other thing I would like it to do is tell me when people chat for the first time in a stream, so I can acknowledge you all turning up to watch my nonsense, instead of relying on glancing over a chat when someone says something. So what are we left with? We are left with headers and capacitors and LEDs. So LEDs next. Right, so we're going to have one of these is green, one of these is going to be red. I'm going to guess that's green. Yes, because that's nowhere near as bright, so that must be red. So these go up here. Is it at all, whoops, at all obvious to you folks which way around those should be? Red to the left, thank you. I've forgotten which way around the LEDs were on the table now. Right, so that one that side, this one this side. Well, let me refocus. And which way round do they go in the... Okay, flattened edge to the left. That way. I think I made a mess of that. That's better. And then this one. Chloe, you have no idea how grateful I am that our traffic lights are vertical. I am somewhat aggrieved that apparently it is now the done thing to remove the white reflective or white border from them. Which therefore makes it somewhat less obvious in darker conditions where the top and the bottom of the thing is. But I think that's a battle I'm going to lose. Yeah, it's optional, and I saw a video from what's his name? Show Us a Sign, Bryn, about some new scheme somewhere, Manchester I think it was, where they have. He just mentioned in passing that the new lights they'd installed didn't have them, and he thought that was better. It's like, no, it's not better. Stop it. And usually he's quite good in his analysis, but I disagreed with him on that point for obvious reasons. Right, there we go. London never adopted them. I didn't realise that. Just yeah, good. So we have headers, capacitors. Is this header first? Sorry, actually I just remembered there was something Majenko said that I need to go back and have a look at. Oh, I don't like that, Chloe. That's bad. No, no. Majenko, you don't have a problem on this with pipe wire. You can output a source to multiple sinks at once. See, well, yes, you can on. Well, there is equivalent technology available for Mac OS. I use it for ham radio stuff, for getting stuff out of SDR tuner software into Multimon and WX2Image to do slow scan TV decoding. So it can be done. It's just, I wanted to just be able to point the API at a sync that OBS supported natively without me having to fart around with anything like that. But unfortunately not. But yes, as sorry, where was it? As Swarm says, the say command will output to a file. So I could do that. I could have it synthesize it and then tell OBS to play the file back. It just seems a bit crude. But never mind. Crudity is my middle name. Right. Out of crystal, almost out of cheese. That is calamity, Chloe. Your planning seems suspect there. Mind you, as I said in my Majenko stream yesterday, I got home and then promptly realised I didn't manage to buy anything cold and fizzy to pop in the fridge, so I had to do that today. Right. I believe at least some of you do know my actual middle names, so you'll know I am lying. That was a good trick. Managed to hit the solder with the iron and flick a bit of it off to one side. Ah, really great solder blob, that's not what I wanted. Getting worse. That's not working. Right, that should sort that out. Okay, I think I rescued that. I didn't want to go straight in with the wick, which would be my usual approach, because that would just heat up too much of the silk, or the dye sub board, which is unfortunate. So we're going to have some coffee. And catch you with a chat there. Hello, Industrious Ant, how are you doing? Oh, I'm sure you could do that. And my middle initials are not GG, Cobb. Come on, you do better than that. I mean, I have a, just for reference, I have a slight tremor, or I'm told I have a slight tremor in my right hand. Apparently it's very common, because I was about a month premature. It's a fairly common thing in that situation, and I was diagnosed, or not diagnosed, it was observed when I was at school, and they were trying to work out why my handwriting was so absolutely dreadful. And if I can manage this with hardly any depth perception and a slight tremor in one hand, you know, it's not all that tricky, let's put it that way. And contrary to popular belief, the surface mount is easier than through hole, primarily because you only really have to melt one thing at a time, or heat one thing at a time. So if you start out with larger scale surface mount stuff, you might find it easier than through hole, but certainly it's nothing to be afraid of, and a lot of people seem to just think no, they can never do it, and no, you just need a good pair of tweezers and jobs are good. And by good pair of tweezers I mean these were about £1. but the important thing is that they've got a fine tip. Come on. I think that's okay. Let me just have a quick look at it under some light. I'm finding this one a bit more of a challenge than some of the other dice-up boards. I wonder if it's the colour. It's a very, very dark colour to for me anyway. That's fine. Oh yeah, that would do it. Massive heavy solder gun type things just say no. There's nothing wrong with the sort of canonical first electronic soldering iron, something like an Antec CS. Not brilliant because it's not temperature regulated or anything, but it will get you through a few kits. But these days, when you can get things like the Pine Sill, isn't it? I think, and the little battery powered things, they're a hell of a lot better than anything we had access to back in the day, for not that much money, and they'll do a lot better job. But yeah, just say no to the big solder gun type stuff. Anything that looks like it was designed for a plumber is not going to get you very far. Now that includes flux paste. When I started out, getting hold of actual proper electronics flux, or acid-free flux, isn't it? You just had the really brutal stuff that was used in plumbing, and it can seriously knacker your boards after a while. The fact that I could take the body shell off those trains I was looking at back at Easter, and still smell that flux in there, it should give some indication. Come on. I mean, yeah, I can see why some people would prefer the Pine Sill. I'm tempted to get something like it just to chuck in my bag when I might need something on the go, rather than the 888 isn't too big, but it is a basically 3-part unit. You need the base station, the iron obviously, and the associated cabling, and then the stand, and it just mounts up. And I think it's repeated being thrown in a bag to take places that has resulted in the dodgy connection on the front panel that sometimes it means the iron doesn't warm up properly. And I need to get in there and figure out what that is, because I've tried a couple of times and failed. Anyway, 4 left on this, 3, 2. That's not very good. Come on. That's better. Right, so that one looks weird. What's gone on there? Oh, I think that's the one that I had to desolder slightly, or had to. apply suction to. There we go. I'm just going to check this out before I do the other headers. What was I about to say? I was about to say something. Oh, the other nice looking small portal line at the moment that I've seen is the iFixit one. The only problem is if you want an actual user interface on it rather than plugging it into your computer and using a web browser to change the settings on it, you need to spring for the battery pack. But, I mean, it looks like a nice piece of kit regardless. Okay, let's try putting the middle one in first and then using it as a reference for the others. So right, that one was nowhere near. Where's it gone? Nowhere near the vertical, so we'll fix that up. More like it. And put the other two in either side. And probably drop one of them. Bear with me folks, this is not going quite as well as the first one. Oh, that's better. The massive, this one here, prototyping area. So all of the pins on the ESP are brought out down here and labelled. And you can jump a wire over here, and that you've got 5 volt, 3.3 volt, and ground as well. So yeah, you can use that to add additional bits and pieces to it, like for instance an Max 232 if you need a proper RS232 levels or something. But it's because the ESP has so much additional processing power. You might want to do more stuff than pure firmware things in there. But this goes back to the debate we were having the other day about using such powerful components as the ESP and the Raspberry Pi Pico as peripherals on a Z80. Is it just defeating the point? But no, that's fine. Check those are good. Okay, that's splendid. Dropped one of the jumpers. Sorry, let me just bring up the camera and see whether I'm anywhere close to in focus. I think the answer is probably not. so it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then finally it's this one, isn't it? Yep. What's that tipping on? That's annoying. So there we go. So the 6-pin header there is just for reprogramming the ESP. So that's what this jumper block here is for as well. If you want to upload different firmware to it, you just rejumper it and it shows up then as a serial device for to reprogram. So let's just finish off these. Sorry, lack of transparent hands being a problem there, isn't it? Right, and I think that is everything apart from the 2 electrolytic capacitors. Which way around do they go? 47 on this side. Doke. So hang on, we can see there's the breakout of the ESP signals, and you can just jumper across from there to the prototyping area as needed and so on. So I think that's everything. The only thing we need to do is install the jumpers correctly. And let's see what it has to say about that. So we'll install them on the run side initially. What time is it? It is 11 o'clock, so we might have time to play around with some alternative firmware. And then on this side we have TXRX for which serial port it's configured on. And we'll configure it on port 1 initially, so that it takes the place of the VGA console. But before we can do that, I need to find the jumper that I dropped, so 1 second. There it is. I think we should be good to go. Let me just tidy up here a bit. Things that need to go back in the box. So we'll disconnect the in fact we'll take the VGA board out entirely and pop the Wi-Fi board in its place. That seems sensible. So let me just catch up on chat there. It's very good as that emulator for the ESP32. Well, you say that, Majenka, but I shall try not to think about that too hard, because reducing this whole thing down to one chip would be... I've just rested my sweaty forearm on a pile of lead offcuts and ugh. Fool. Let me just move those up there out of the way. Right. So, how does this work? I believe what happens is I apply power to the thing. Thus. I've got a power light, which is good, because it means it hasn't blown up. And then what happens is the ESP radiates a Wi-Fi network that I can connect to and provide my credentials for the house Wi-Fi. So let me deal with that quickly, off camera obviously. Wi-Fi see all. No, I am not seeing it. Okay, let me bring up the thing with the thing. Refer to ESP or Wi-Fi if you need more information. So firmware. The firmware pre-installed is ESP link from G-Labs, right? So allows us to operate as a wireless serial link so you can download to your RC2014. Great. TS provide jumpers. Yeah, done all that. Okay, so there must have been a link I missed, as shown in ESP link setup. There we go. Initially set this up as wireless access point with ESP in the title. You need to connect to this. Right, but it is not so. Yeah, we have no ESP showing up. Right, so what do we do about this? We inspect the board for whoopsie. There's a button. I wonder what the button does. See if it says anything about the button. The button is for reset. Okay. Regular use. Jumpers, jumpers, jumpers. That's all fine. To reprogram the ESP, push the reset button before uploading your firmware. Well, let's try. Let's try pushing the reset button and seeing what happens. And still nothing showing up. What we can probably do we'll give it a minute or so, but we can also it said in the construction notes that this can work in a single row slot. So if we put it here, then we can hook the hang on. No, it was just finding more of my neighbours. We'll put it in this slot on the end. Come on, why is that not pushing home? Like that. And then based on that, what we can do is just check the output of the voltage regulator as a first step. So ground +5, 3.3 from bottom to top. So we'll do that. If I can find a multimeter. So let's hook up to ground. And we've got the 5 volts. And we got 3.3. So we're getting power. That's good. But we are not getting anything else. Reset. I shall have some coffee and ponder it for a second. Just catch up on chat here. Computer with a big honking manual bell. Yes, that would be nice. I'm not feeling any heat or anything off the ESP. Oh, you probably need to install that link to enable the reset jumper. Okay. Well, I don't know, let's have a look at the schematic. Okay, enable. I'm just wondering whether we are supposed to install this enable link in the schematic. It pulls the pin CHPD to 3v3. What's that? ESP12E. CH_PD. Anybody happen to know what that is? Signal that can be used to power it down. There's a pin on the ESP Majenko labelled CHPD, and the schematics have it routed through a jumper to 3.3. I'm just debating whether I need to install that jumper. It's not actually, I don't think it's mentioned in the text anywhere. Although, it is shown there. Let's have a look at the right, okay. Oh, so it's a global enable thing for the chip. Okay, right, fair enough then. Might explain why it's not booting up then, mightn't it? I hadn't noticed that it was labelled enable. I thought it was a sort of, because it's next to the reset button, I thought it was some sort of remote reset header or something. I don't like the shape I've managed to bend that into, but never mind. No, we'll try that again with another. Okay, we shall wait for the iron to warm itself up again. Okay. Oh, we have flashy lights on the ESP now. So let's see, Wi-Fi ESP, there we go. So connected to that. And what was the address it said? 4.1. Cobb, no, not ignoring you, Cobb, I just wasn't entirely sure what to say. I'm just hoping I didn't make a massive fuck up. I probably did. No, I think I got away with that. That's good. So I need to get back to the set of instructions for this. 1 second. ESP link setup. There we go. Go to HTTP 192.168.4.1. Took too long to respond. Let's turn off mobile data. Reload. There we go. We have ESP link setup. Host name. Click to edit. RC2014. Network. Come on, network SSID. Come on, let me. Can I not type anything in there? Let's follow the instructions. From the home page, set the CON LED to GPIO 4. and the serial LED to GPIO 5. Right, if the RX pull-up box is ticked, untick it. Change. Oh, we've got lights. Let's move that up there. No, I'm looking to find somewhere I can put this, where you'll be able to see the lights. So I can bring up the document I'm reading at the same time. Hold on a second. There we go. Then go to the menu and select Wi-Fi station. What? No, I don't think we want to do that. Oh, yes we do. Okay. Wi-Fi station. Menu. Quick switch to STA mode. Wi-Fi scan started. Now I'm just getting unreachable. Okay, I might have the document said click the link labelled switch to STA mode, and what I had was a link labelled switch to STA plus AP mode, and I clicked that, and then it said switch to STA mode, so I clicked that. That might have been a strategic error. It might no longer be broadcasting its own. It is not. Oh, there it is. Saved. There we go. Reconnected. So we want to connect to the guest net, and my super secret password on the guest net is QWERTY. Or is it QWERTY UI? I think it's QWERTY UI. Connect. If you're in the same network, go to 3.5. Okay, we can do that. Hey, there we go. Just turn mobile data back on and connect to my network. Done. So we should now be able to say Wi-Fi station mode. Why don't you want to say 3.5? So that should let us tell it into the thing. Majenko, yes, there are plenty of other firmwares that do, apparently. Firmware. It's just that this one has all sorts of web interface and doohickey and stuff. Good evening, Carrot House. Good to see you. Hope you're well. The depends how we get on with this. Let me just find the right window to share. There we go. Okay. There we go. So we should now have the wrong window. There we go. Let's press the reset button. Yeah, that's a shame. That's what it reckons it's connected as. Excuse me? Network is unreachable. Just to double check, you can see and hear me, folks, right? I am not somehow... Okay, thank you, Majenko. No, it should be on default port. Oh, there it is. Weird. So if I press reset... We've connected, but we are getting no... Where's the other reset button? There. Okay, that's strange. Let me just have a quick look through the web settings to make sure there isn't a thing I have to do to save anything. Wi-Fi soft AP. No, it's not what we wanted. Console. Services. No. Well, I don't think I have to press anything to save the config, so we'll just power down and back up and see what happens, I think. See if it reconnects. Whoop. There we go, it's reconnected okay. So telnet. Reset. This is weird. Let's have a quick look at those jumper settings again. It's definitely in run mode, we know that because it's running and it is set to port 1. which is what that was set to, wasn't it? Yep, so that's why we took that out, so they wouldn't conflict. So that should route its way over to this, which should... let's try... making sure the RC2014 is still working properly with this plugged in to the console. Clear data, power up. Yep, I get small computer monitor on port 1, so there. So that much at least is working. So that's the message we should see in Telnet if we press reset. So we'll power down again, unhook that, and pop this back in one of the full fat slots. Back up. It's alive. Telnet in and press reset. Nothing. I mean, the light flashes, which is good news, but that's about it. Right, so let's have a just going to have a quick look at the pictures again and see if I've got jumpers in a stupid position. Those are all at the top. Regular use, the 2, 1. So yeah, they should be at the bottom for port 1. Okay, let's try them on port 2. It has to run in parallel to the serial card, yes, because what happens is the serial card just has the UARTs on it effectively. And that routes the TTL level RX and TX through the backplane. So if you don't have anything hooked up to the FTDI ports on the serial card, then something else on the bus can drive it instead. So that's either the VGA terminal, which we've got unhooked at the moment for exactly that reason, or in fact, thinking about it, let's put the VGA terminal back in. No, we'll do it with CoolTerm. Ground this end. So yeah, the I/O from the Telnet session is supposed to be going across the backplane to the serial card, which is bringing it over to the Z80. We have the VGA disconnected, so there shouldn't be anything conflicting. But for whatever reason, so let's just bring up CoolTerm quickly and power up and run CPM and run QTerm 82. So this is now connected to the second port. Beg pardon. What on earth is that? So it's doing something. I can type into telnet and get FF bytes in everything. I don't know what all this junk here was. So if I type something in here, it doesn't make it back out the other end. So reception from the Wi-Fi into the RC2014 seems to be okay for the most part. But not going the other way. This might be an oscilloscope job. It's 11:30. I don't know why. Terminal receive data handling, convert non-printable. There we go. We'll just have a quick look at the soldering job I've done on the ESP itself and see if there are any obvious cock-ups. Let's bring that up full screen so I can see what I'm doing. It could be that I've just made a right mess of I don't particularly like the look of the third pin in there. Going, come on. A couple of those look a little sus. There's that one. I don't know, I think they're mostly okay. Let's have a look at that block of 6 is that connects the serial ports to the ESP. They look okay. Have I... take a look at the back plane and figure out which pins are which. So it is the TX and RX are the bottom two of the extended section. So these four here. possibly a little starved of solder, but they should be making. So what else is in the circuit? The resistor networks to bring that 5 volt down to 3.3 for the not sure. Oh, sleepy. Right. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Good to see you. Stay safe. And yes, as long as you're safe, enjoy the show, I suppose. But yeah. Yeah, I think this is an oscilloscope job. What do you say, folks? It is 25 to midnight. I'm aware that it's probably bedtime for a lot of people. Do I attempt to debug this now, or do we have a look another time? See, where does... I'm just going to touch those joints up while I'm here, actually. Let's find out which pin the RX goes to. Yeah, go for it, Majenko. You can set one up, I think. Sorry, let me just find the schematics for this so I can try and figure out which pin is the important one. Safari, bring it up. That's not Safari. Stop lying to me. OBS. I know it's my own fault for having changed that, but... So, TX jumpers are... somewhere. Ah, here we go. TX. So TX ESP, RX ESP should go through some... I thought they went through some resist... Oh, RX ESP, here we go. Through R3, R2 into pin RxD15, which is one I've just touched up. So, that might actually be the issue. Let's double check I've touched that up well enough. So that's this pin here from what I can tell. Come on, let's find somewhere on the table that can actually be seen. No, a bit of a mess of that. But second pin on the right on this bottom row is the signal going into the ESP from the system, and it was looking a little devoid of solder earlier, so we'll do that and we'll see if that helps, and if not I'm going to bed apparently. Okay. So did we swap that over, didn't we? That's fine. But we'll swap it back. Right, okay, well as long as you're enjoying rigging the pole, that's all that matters. So anyway, we want to go back to here. Find that. Ignore the garbage there, which was just me talking to it earlier. So it's up and running, so we should be able to telnet to it and press reset. No, still no go. Okay. I'm going to disobey the democratic result of the poll, because otherwise it will only keep me up. So we need to get to that pin there from... Okay, that's fine, we can do that. So bear with me one moment, folks. Oops, let's not drop the oscilloscope. Right, now you can only see the top of the oscilloscope. Excellent. Probe 2, we want probe 1, and we want that. And we want to bring up if we connect to ground there, then we should see, if we probe pin TX1 on the back plane, which is going to be where? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up from the bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've got that set to 100 millivolts, which is a bit much. And if you press reset, we should see a burst of activity. Okay, it's obviously running too fast for roll mode, so we'll switch over to more trigger. Should be okay. Hmm. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. There. That should be the right. Oh, it went eventually. What's happening? Why does it think it's triggered, but serial UART? I am doing something wrong here and I'm not entirely clear what. Let's just have a look, see if I can find a better ground reference. There is a burst of activity. There we go, I just had my time base absolutely signals, config. There we go. Why is it not letting me scroll it? Not available. Stop. There we go. Scroll lister. Okay, I'll turn the lister off. But anyway, there we've got that's the data coming out of the CPU. And there is definitely data there, so that's good news. I'm just going to move my trigger point somewhere a bit more useful. Why is it? It's being vaguely annoying at me. I don't like it being vaguely annoying at me. Anyway, there is definitely data leaving the the Z80. So what we want to do is to see whether it is reaching that pin on the ESP, which is going to be a challenge, but I think if we do that, and press reset, we get nothing. So it's not making it as far as the even the pad, I think, that the the ESP is in is expecting it to be on. We can possibly verify that from the back, actually. Because it is a through hole, so if we do that, yeah, it doesn't reach that far. So let's chase it through the resistors. We should have R2, R3 to ground, and then the junction of R2 and R3. Yep, so junction of R2 and R3 is at I believe the top. So if we probe there and press reset, what do we get? Still nothing. So is it present at the bottom of R2? Right, it's present at the bottom of R2, but not at the top. I'll just bring up the put it on top of the open face. So that's the construction picture. R2 and R3 are these. So R3 is the middle one of those five, then R2 is to its right. And if we go to the schematic, that forms a voltage divider. So the input from the system into R2, then R3 to ground, so we should be just seeing a smaller version of the same signal there, and we are not, we are seeing nothing. So either R2 is completely open circuit somehow, or pin 15 is shorted to ground somehow, but no, GPIO 5 is one of the LEDs. And R3 could be short, I suppose. Oh, trigger level too high. You raise a very good point. 245. Let's try bringing that down then. Let's try again. I chose a really unlucky level for triggering there, obviously. There. Sorry, RHK. So we've now got a really low trigger level, but it is the right answer because... Yeah, stop it. No, bad. We're only seeing 1 volt there. Have I screwed up and fitted the wrong resistor? It's either that or something is clamping it, but let's check out the resistor first. Oh, that's an irrelevant resistor. 10k and 2.2. Double check the from left to right. There is a 2k2, 3k3, 22, 10, 10. Two 2.2, 3.3, 2, 10, 5.5. I wonder what they're supposed to be in circuit with. You swapped R1 and R2. I mean, I don't know. Well, The instructions definitely say the middle one should be the 22k and then two 10ks to the right. And the one to the right immediately is a 10k, and that is our... Let's just double check which leg of the divider that is. Let's not knock that over. So R2 is 10k and R3 is reading as 2.2 and it should be 22. So R2 oh come on, what? Stop pissing around, Safari. So R2 is correct at 10k and R3 should be yes. Have I been a monumental wally? The way to solve this question is for chat to be my eyes again. So Sorry, just trying to find where we are. What are the colour bands on the middle one? So they should be red, red. Two, 22k, red, red, brown. 222, 3. So how the hell have I managed to fit a 2k2? Right, well at least we know what the problem was. This is going to be a challenge. It's midnight. I am not going to attempt to replace that now, for the simple reason that it is midnight and I will probably cock it up on a board that is not really amenable to rework, and then I will be upset. So I shall swap it for the right resistor. Yeah, it's the middle there, so it's right in the middle of some print on the back. Oh, that's annoying. That really is annoying. Hang on, let's have a look at the... K2 there. There's the 22. Let's put these away. So in other words, one of those 2K2s belongs on this board. Oh, hang on, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. 9, 10, 11. So it needs 11 of them, but I think one of them is sorry, let's bring up the other camera again. So this entire bank here, those are all 2K2, but I'm pretty sure those are just pull-ups for the switches. These over here are a variety of values because they're the droppers for the LEDs. So that one is critical. The one over here, not so much. So if I can't, I can probably rescue it well enough to install it, but when we need it on the other board. But that is annoying. That's incredibly annoying. That we are... Yes, RHK, that's probably the easiest way, but the problem then is that I would have to replace it. But yeah, that's probably the way forward. I shall have to have a think about it. I don't think there are any spares. There certainly isn't a spare of the 22. Let me just count how many of the 2K2s are there. But I'm pretty sure it's accurate to the part. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No spares. Well, I'll have a go tomorrow, I think, off camera and see what I can do. But that's... Yeah, it's not broken, it's just that I'm vaguely annoyed that it's 7 weeks in and I fitted the wrong part. But, oh well, these things happen. Yeah, as I said, I'll see what I can do. See if I can revive it in time for next week. We've just seen the board that I'll be working on next week anyway, which is the digital I/O board. It's 8 LEDs and 8 push buttons, and in this edition they are a variety of shiny colours. So I'm going to need chat's help to sort that out again. Yeah, so there we are. I'll let you know how I got on with trying to get that resistor out on Friday. Friday I intend to do a System 1 stream. We are going to look at improving the 4th implementation on System 1 with better error handling or better PARS error reporting, and implement the hooks to allow me to hook the or to put a keyboard driver actually in 4th in the thing. So yeah, that'll be from 6 PM on Friday. So join me if that sounds vaguely interesting, and as I said, I'll update you on how this has gone. Next week we'll do the digital I/O board for this, and that will round out Pride Month with the last of the modules of the Pro Pride. So that'll be good. We'll have a finished system then, and we'll see if we can make it do stuff. What stuff that is remains to be seen. But yeah, I won't spoil it. I have something minor up my sleeve for once we are done with the Pro Pride modules. So yeah, thank you all for joining me. That was unexpected failure at the end there, which is a shame, but hopefully it was not $2 stream before we got to the why is it broken, let's try and figure out why bit. So yeah, thanks for joining me, and I shall catch you all next time.